G'day, I'm Grace Thompson. I'm a music therapist and researcher from Melbourne, Australia, and I've been working with young children with autism and their families for many years now. The preschool years are such an important period of development, and I love working with children at this time in their life when so many skills are emerging. Families play a vital role in the way children grow and develop. We know that children learn best by doing, by experiencing the world around them, and we also know that they learn best in the context of loving and attuned relationships. And so the family becomes a very important thing for us to consider as therapists in terms of how we're going to support the child's development and support the parents to support their own child. We also know that repetition is really important for young children. They need to do things over and over again and in a variety of ways throughout their day and throughout their week. And this is another challenge for us as therapists. If we're only seeing a child once or maybe twice a week, this just may not be enough to support them in their growth and development. And so I found that working in partnership with families produces some really exciting possibilities for working with them, to be able to work with the parents as well as the child and partner with them, collaborate with them so that they can tell me what works best for their child and what works best for their family, and together we find a way forward in terms of creating music activities and experiences that the parents might be able to continue during the week and their daily routine with the child. I'm really excited by the possibilities that are open to us as therapists when we partner and collaborate with families. But I think there's still a lot for us to learn about how we can best facilitate family-centred practice. So I'm going to introduce you now to Jeff. Jeff is a parent that I've done a lot of work with, and I visited his home once a week for 5 months. He has 2 sons, and Mark is their eldest, and he has autism. And Mark was 4 years old, just turning 5, when we were having our family-centred music therapy sessions together. Working in the family home is a different experience as a music therapist. It's a very inclusive environment. You need to be able to facilitate the session with whoever is there at the time. And so for Mark, his younger brother and grandmother were regular participators in the session alongside his father Jeff. And his mum would also join us when she was free from work. So Jeff is now going to share with you some of his insights and reflections about what it was like to participate in family-centred music therapy for him as a parent, and what he saw the value was for his children.
There was quite a few things we noticed about Mark straight up once he started the music therapy sessions. He's kind of, his attitude and his personality kind of leveled out a little bit with his highs weren't as high, his lows weren't as low. And it was easier to note when things started to go off the rails as such. The routine of the sessions was fantastic. Coming in, unpacking the instruments, figuring out which ones he wanted to play first, which one he wanted to play with next, who was going to play with each instrument, and handing them around, and loud and soft noises, who was going to be making, when we're going to make loud noises, when we're going to make soft noises. Even now it's easy to tell him, Mark, it's time to be quiet, shh, softly, and his voice will come down. He's naturally a loud speaker and a loud talker, and it can get quite overpowering sometimes. So to be able to tell him, Mark, not so loud, softly, make it quiet, and he'll do that automatically. That's been a great benefit that we've seen out of it. Experience of participating alongside Mark was just fantastic. Watching him take charge of what was happening in the room, with singing the songs or playing the music or choosing which song to sing, and the little games that were happening. Absolutely watching him the joy that he got out of all of that was just fantastic. And as a musician, seeing the rhythm and the timing that he got out was just fantastic to see. It was really good. Different ways of singing and making up his own songs, which was fantastic. I loved watching him do that. Sitting back sometimes and just watching Mark and watching him play the musical instruments or choose the instruments or singing or getting up and dancing. He used to love getting up and dancing and during the session, which was fantastic. As a parent in general, you love watching your kids do those things. As a parent with a child on the spectrum, it's great to watch him doing normal things or neurotypical things that most kids would just get up and do, but Mark took a little bit of time getting into those things, and once he got into them, he was happy to get up and dance and sing and play the instruments. But at the same time, the participating with Mark was fantastic. He'd come over and take an instrument out of my hand and hand me another one because he wanted to play with that one, but okay, here's another one for you. I'm taking this one off you, but at the same time I'm giving you something else to play with. And that whole sharing thing, we still see it coming out now in his interaction with other kids in his friends group and in his brother at home. A lot of the times there was this sense of relief coming out in that Mark was singing and dancing and finding something that he actually enjoyed that wasn't necessarily a solitary pursuit. It wasn't socially awkward, if you like. It wasn't I'm going to do this to the exclusion of everything else, or anybody else. It was watching him grow into something that he was looked forward to the session every week because he got to interact with other people and go and ask people to come in and join in. Often we had Grandma in the house when the sessions would happen, and he'd go and ask Grandma to come and play. And here, Grandma, you can play the tambourine today, and just the sheer joy of sitting down for half hour and playing music with him and interacting and all that stuff. It was. We've always been a musical family. Where my wife and I are both in musical theatre, and I'm a musician. So there's always been music in the house, but the way we use it now is a lot different. We've started putting music on Mark's iPad so that he can access songs that he likes all the time. And he'll often pull the iPad out and stick it on, and he and his brother will start singing around to whatever the latest song that they're into at the moment. It's a Michael Bublé tune at the moment, which is one of their favourites. He'll regularly pull out one of the ukuleles out of the music box, and he and his brother will sing away and strum away on that and bang on drums and things. And it's more of a social thing now rather than a trying to get him to do something thing now, or about one of the only ways that we use it. We still use it as music as a way of getting him to do things. Is that it's we've got an app on his iPhone, on his iPad that for brushing his teeth, and that's got a song to it, and that lasts for 2 minutes, and that's how long he's got to brush his teeth for, and that's fantastic. That still works really well. But music's much more of a social thing for Mark now, and it's he's doing a glee class now, which he's absolutely loving. Going along for a session like that once a week, where he's singing and dancing and interacting with all these other kids as well. He's before the music therapy session started, I could not see Mark getting into anything like that. yes, he loved to perform, but now it's very much I'm going in there and I'm singing and I'm dancing and I'm interacting and you know, dancing with the other kids and doing what they're doing, and it's fantastic.
Wow.
And I don't think Mark would have gotten as much out of those glee classes if he hadn't have done the music therapy sessions beforehand. So.
Wow.
Because it covers, as I said, it covers so many things. The physical part of it, the you know, music's a social aspect. You don't always sit in your room on your own playing the guitar. The whole idea is to get out and meet people and play with groups of musicians, and even that part of it can be really good because your part in the music that you're playing, but you're at the same time you've got to listen to everything that's going on around you, and if that teaching kids on the spectrum to listen is something that's quite hard, and if through learning music and music therapy they can learn how to listen to what's going on around them, that's great. Even if it's just I'm hitting on one beat and this person's hitting on another beat, but I've got to keep this beat up so this person can get the other beats, and just that type of listening and that type of understanding is not always something that we do on a regular basis every day in the house or walking down the street. That's it, if you can get into something like music therapy where you can listening to what's going on around you, that can be really helpful for some kids, as we found out with Mark. So.